Is Civil War really as divisive as they say it is? Let's find out right now.
What? Well, you're American, okay? Okay. What kind of American are you?
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. In today's review, I'll be reviewing the newest film from Alex Garland, Civil War. We're going to do it in non-spoiler fashion, so don't worry about any spoilers. Before we get started, though, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 700 subscribers. It's free to do so. The links are in the description for like my Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Very active on all those. Before we get into it, I'm going to read you guys a quick plot synopsis just so you know what the movie's about. In a dystopian future America, a team of military embedded journalists race against time to reach Washington, D.C. before rebel factions descend upon the White House. Before I share with you what I felt about this movie and how I felt about it, I want to talk about Alex Garland for a sec because he is the director and writer of this movie. And I gotta say, I'm very impressed by Alex Garland every time I see one of his pieces of work. Like, it's so interesting what he makes because the movies he directs and writes are always very interesting in a way. Like, they add some very interesting elements, like sometimes of very elements that you don't understand on first watch, and you have to watch the movie over and over again to understand. And they're all basically pretty original for the most part. He's directed and written Ex Machina, Annihilation Men, and now this Civil War. I actually saw Ex Machina for the first time in IMAX when A24 did that one night IMAX re-release. I thought it was a straight up masterpiece of perfection. Like, I was like blown away by what he did there. Like, sci-fi masterpiece on so many different levels, and the ending kind of shook me to my core. I was like, that's crazy. Like, the AI kind of stuff in that movie that was made in like 2015 and how he did it, you know, how everything is today when we're worried about AI even more. So interesting to see how he did everything with that film. So I was really impressed with that. Annihilation is one that I really like a lot. Some people don't like it, but it's such an interesting sci-fi film. It makes me question a lot of things by the end of it. Men, I haven't seen yet, but I heard it's is probably, you know, I heard that people don't like that one. I heard it's their least favorite film from him, and now we have Civil War, which we're gonna get to in a second. But there are these talks about, you know, Alex Garland, was he gonna retire from directing? Is he gonna direct anymore? Well, he did speak on this, and he did say he's basically gonna take a long break from directing because it does take a toll on him, which I do understand because making a film is a really difficult process. Some people think it's very easy, but no, it's a very difficult process. I can really understand why he wants to take a break. But he does have another movie, I think, coming out pretty soon within the next 2 years that he is co-directing, so I will keep my eyes out for that one. But for this one, my expectations going into Civil War, I actually wanted to go in kind of blind on this one, except I did watch the one main trailer because, I mean, you have to watch one trailer to see, oh, do I want to go see this? Do I not want to go see this? And of course I wanted to go see it. So I then saw some reviews and I'm like, I'm not going to read fully into this, but I did read the headline and I saw how polarizing this movie was turning out, which was very interesting to me, but also kind of wasn't a surprise because all of his films are kind of polarizing except Ex Machina. So I was going into this movie kind of expecting, you know, a very polarizing movie. I understand, and then I went out and I kind of understand why people hate it and some people love it. I mean, I went with a couple of my friends. One of them thought it was just okay. The other one really loved it. And in my opinion, I really did love this film. It left a big impact on me, and I think it's going to leave a big impact on other people. Maybe a good impact, maybe a bad impact, but I do understand why it is a very divisive movie. But I just want to say, you know, if you want to talk about this movie, please just talk about it in a respectful manner. Like, if you hate it, I want to understand why. Like, I want to understand why. I want to respect your opinion. And if you love it, cool. I loved it also. So let's just respect everyone because it is a very sensitive subject. I'd say it gets kind of political, but not as political as you think it would get. Maybe not as political as you'd want it to get. For me, I didn't really, honestly, I kind of went into it expecting some politics, but not a lot. And it seems like there wasn't a lot in it, which is interesting because it's a very neutral film, and a lot of people are kind of going down on Alex Garland for going neutral, but it is kind of like they didn't because this isn't really a spoiler, but they didn't tell you why everyone was at war, which irked me just a little bit in the beginning. But then I went to understand that this is kind of a character drama more than just a war film. It's kind of just a character drama exploring these four journalists and what they're going through, kind of like we're going through the lens, kind of like a true story esque kind of thing. And after the movie, I felt kind of numb because of how it ended and just everything inside of it. I felt kind of shook because it all felt very real in a sense. And I will say, sure, a lot of this doesn't feel real. I mean, there's one of the sides is called the Western Forces in this movie, and it's literally California and Texas teaming up and like that would probably never happen in real life. But honestly, the warfare element seems like it could happen in real life. It seems like something that maybe we aren't far from if things go bad. And the warfare element I'm talking about is people just getting guns and killing people just because they feel like it. Because some people in this world are literally insane, and that's what they would do. You know, some people are absolutely crazy. If war broke out, people would just do their own thing, start killing anyone, wouldn't ask any questions, wouldn't ask what side you're on. So that kind of felt real to me. And so I understand why people don't like it because it's not picking a side. At the same time, I don't really know. I love the character drama aspect of it, so I kind of forgot about all the political elements. And there are some action scenes in here. It's not a lot because it isn't a full blown action movie, but there's some really big ones, especially the ending, that left a big impact on me and a big impression on me. I will talk about two of my favorite scenes in a non-spoiler fashion. I'm not going to go too in depth on that. One of my favorite scenes was the whole last 30 minutes of the film because it's all out warfare, all out action. This is where they're going to the White House, the Western forces and all that go in there. My nails were like, this was my finger, missed my hands. I was like gripping. I was like, I don't know. I was completely taken aback by all this action coming from Alex Garland because, as I said, his films, they're not really action films. So I was surprised that he went in this direction, went in this genre, and I was nervous. I was like, wow, this is some really cool action. And I want to kind of say it kind of felt like a video game, but in the best sense possible, because a lot of people who played video games, if you're like me, you play like Call of Duty or all that, and you're playing like let's just say like search and destroy, and you're just wandering around the house, you're kind of sneaking around and trying to get that first shot. It's kind of how this felt. You're like so nervous. You're like, oh, I want to win my first game. I want to win my first game. Kind of like that. That's kind of how I felt similar to this. And then probably my other favorite scene has got to be the one and only Jesse Plemons scene, because you know that a scene in the trailer where he says, "What kind of American are you?" And then he points the gun and all that. That's basically Jesse Plemons' only scene. But let me tell you, Jesse Plemons he's a fantastic actor. Some people don't like him, but I literally love this guy. Anytime he shows up in a movie, he leaves a big mark. He leaves a big impression anytime he shows up. I mean, Killers of the Flower Moon, this man showed up and he's like, I'm going to solve these damn murders going on here. And he did. He really did. And here he's not a nice guy. Let's just say that. I'm not going to get too into it, but I was stressing out during the scene. And I thought the best thing about it is that it just leaves a big impact on our characters going forward throughout the rest of the movie. That's probably all I'll say about that. And there is a scene where it's like a Christmas themed scene in just kind of a way, which was actually very fun. There are a couple laughs in here to keep you from feeling really just numb to the core throughout the whole movie, but it is a pretty haunting film, as I said, because some of this could come true in a sense. And the visuals in here, some of the visuals I'll think about for a long time because they stick with you. They stick with you throughout the whole film. It really just leaves a big impact on you through right here. And I really loved how this was shot. As I said, it's a beautifully shot film, especially the last 30 minutes. Cinematography was really off the charts here, and the sound design, oh my gosh. I don't know if this is going to get nominated for an Oscar for sound design, but I would be very happy if it did. I mean, that's very far away. Sound design here was terrific. We talked about Dune, how the sound design was great, how it's booming. This sound design was booming. I saw this in the regular theaters because I'm going to go probably see it in IMAX tomorrow, but it felt like an IMAX theater and it sounded like an IMAX. I was like, boom, because the gunshots, you could feel them in your chest. I was like, this is insane. Who turned the volume up to 200 here? I was like, Jesus, because there's some scenes where like there's music playing and then it cuts abruptly to just gunfire, and I'm like, oh my god, don't scare me like that. But yeah, the sound design, excellent. Let's talk about the cast for a little bit. You had Nick Offerman play the president, which always just catches me off guard. It takes me a little bit out of the film because Nick Offerman, I just see Parks and Rec. That's all I see. And you had Kristen Dunst come in and play Lee. I haven't seen Kristen Dunst play a big role in a while, but I'm very happy that she's in this. I thought she did a great job during some emotional scenes and during the ending of this film. I thought she did great. Wagner Moura played Joel. I've heard he's from Narcos. I got to get on that because he really impressed me with his performance here. Great performances throughout the whole film. And then you had Kaylee Spaney, of course. God, Kaylee Spaney, what a beautiful girl. Like, she's really beautiful, and she's kind of owning it right now. She was in Priscilla last year. I thought her performance in Priscilla was really wonderful, and then this year she's got this, and I thought she was great in this, and she looks a lot younger than she is, I gotta say. Like, I think she's like mid-20s. Like, she looks really young in this. And then she's got Alien Romulus this year. She gives some great performances. She's gonna be, I think she's gonna win a couple Oscars in her career. Like, she's just really starting out, just really getting into it, and she's really leaving a big impression. Of course, in this this movie, like at the beginning, you really left with a big impression by her character Jessie. But I cannot wait to see what she does in the horror film Alien Romulus. I can't wait. But there is some interesting dynamic, I want to say. Kristen Dunst's character Lee and Kaylee Spaney's character Jessie, they really are two of my favorite characters in the movie, just because they kind of are like opposites in the beginning and then they are opposites once again in the end. It's kind of interesting to think about. I want you guys to talk about that in the comments once you do see the movie, but they do kind of change. One of them is one way, one of them's the other, and in the end, they're complete opposites. So that's really interesting, but I was really impressed by the performances in this cast, especially Kristen Dunst and Kaylee Spaney. Talk about the pace. This is straight up 2 hours long. I think it's exactly 2 hours, and I thought it was paced extremely well. If I'm going to compare this to a movie that's basically coming out in the next week, and Gentlemanly Warfare's coming out, that's 2 hours, and that was not paced very well. But this is paced extremely well. I was very impressed with that. It started and it ended, and I didn't feel like any time was wasted. I was like, holy crap, because you're so tense during the movie, you have no time to think about anything. You have no time to think about what time it is. You have no time to think about, oh, do I need to use the bathroom? And I'm like, after the movie was done, I'm like, yeah, I got to use the bathroom. Like, I didn't think about that. I was just like in my chair. I was tense. I was like, God, this is crazy. What is it? What are we doing here, Alex Garland? I think you need to calm down just a little bit, because some of what he was doing here was just absolutely insane. And I think he even knows it's insane. I think he even knows in interviews that this movie is going to be pretty divisive. A lot of people are not going to like it. And as I said, I completely understand why you're not going to like this movie. But me, I personally really loved it. I love what the cast was going for. I absolutely love the sound design. I cannot wait to see this in IMAX. It's beautifully shot. I thought it was a wonderful character study in the action scenes, especially the last 30 minutes. It really did shake you to the core, especially the Jesse Plemons one. What a great performance of Jesse Plemons. His scene leaves a huge impact. So overall, I really did love Civil War. I can't wait to see it again. The second best movie of the year. So I'm going to give Civil War a strong 9 out of 10. I really need to know what you guys thought of this movie. If you did see it, leave your thoughts down below in the comments, because it's becoming probably the most divisive movie of the year. But I'm happy I'm on the side of loving it, because another great movie for 2024 is a win in my books. So if you did see Civil War, leave your thoughts down below in the comments. I'd love to have a respectful conversation about it down there. But if you did enjoy my review, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 700 subscribers. It's free to do so, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.